Hello, everybody. This is Michael with Mikey Does Outdoors, coming to you this week with a look at Yellowstone National Park. I went there a couple weeks ago and had a short time, but it was a good time to go and take a good look at it and look around. I saw the whole thing, but this is my view of the park. Not a lot of wildlife, but lots of scenery and lots of looks at the steam vents and the geysers and that kind of stuff because that just plain old fascinates me. But hope you enjoy it. This is the Old Faithful Inn. I went there, had lunch, had a bison burger, and it was really good. I've never done that before. There's a waterfall. I thought I'd show you. It's a pretty neat place. You got to get up early to see some of the stuff, but mainly showing you some scenery, some stuff that I thought was great. Maybe not your typical Yellowstone look, but this is the stuff that I enjoyed, and I wanted to show it to you guys. Beautiful sceneries, absolutely stunning, and a big part of the park. Just phenomenal. If you want to get wildlife, it's hard to do during it. This is Yellowstone Lake, and it is absolutely huge. And this day it was blowing real hard, and you could hear the waves were crashing against the bank, and there wasn't a boat out there hardly. And so, thought I'd give you a little view of that lake. I didn't even realize there was that kind of a lake there, but I do now. That's why you need to get up and go see some of these things for yourself, because you'll see stuff you didn't realize was there, and it's just things that just are inspiring, awe-inspiring, actually. And I thought I'd give you a little look of what it's like to drive through Yellowstone on some of these little roads. This was like early in the morning, going down the road, and I don't know if you can see over to the side, but there's some steam and stuff, and that stuff is absolutely all over parts of the park. And I mean, just hard to believe that it's that prolific in the park, but it is. And that's something you can't see everywhere, so I've got quite a bit of that here on this video because I think it's interesting. This was a neat little deal, and then I have my camera on a little monopod that I can stick out the window and see all this. Now this was what you see a lot of from people's videos is traffic. I only got this once, and this is this one time, but it delayed the whole group of cars for an entire hour, which isn't necessarily bad because you gotta just make the good, just see the good in it because it's a neat little drive. The river was right there. It's just beautiful scenery. Like I said, take in the scenery, enjoy that, and just go with the flow. This was the first evening. I was only there for not even a day and a half, but I'm gonna go back up there when I get a chance. Maybe in the off season. Hopefully I can go up there like April before school lets out and spend a whole week up there and really do a good look at everything. And hopefully before the big crowds hit. Just I think it would be lots of fun to do that. But this is what it's like to drive through some of it when people don't pay attention to the signs. We'll see it here in a little bit, but there's signs all over the park that say, "Do not park on the side of the road and go see the wildlife." And it says, "Do not get close to the wildlife because people are killed every year by elk and moose and bears and buffalo. Well, not killed by bears every year, but they're killed by buffalo, moose, and elk almost every year because they get too close to them, and they're big animals." And it doesn't take much for them to hurt you. And so you're better off keeping a distance from them and using your zoom lens on your camera and zoom in to see them. Because that's why they have zoom lenses on cameras. So you don't have to get that close to the dangerous stuff. But here in a few minutes you'll see what it is. And I'm not going to spoil the surprise for you, but phenomenal views. The sun was just right. The river was awesome, and the traffic was bad in one direction, pretty much. The other direction wasn't too bad. And after you get past a certain point, there wasn't hardly any traffic. So And this is actually on the way back to where I was staying, but and on the way in they had one elk, or one critter, and they I just spoiled the surprise, but that's all right. But there were people already blocking the road, and so I don't know, just I choose not to do that to people, and so I wish others would do that, obey the signs, obey the rules, and then more people would have a good time and not have to go through this kind of a traffic jam. It's okay to slow down. I mean, that's part of it. But to stop and block and pull over to the sides of the road, which they say don't do, and get too close to the animals, it just blows my mind. But we're getting closer to seeing it. The whole time we get to see this cool river and the mountains. And I tell you what, the whole area up there is just plain old beautiful. Even the camp I stayed in, it was a KOA on the west, around the west gate side of Yellowstone, not about 6 miles out of the West Yellowstone, Montana. And it was just phenomenal. Although the morning I left that night, it got into the 30s, and I was a little worried about water lines freezing and stuff, but I didn't have that problem. You see, this is the problem. That's just the beginning. That's a cow elk right there. And now you're seeing all these people that are pulled over to the side, and they're causing the traffic jam. And they're sitting there just lining the road. And this is actually a small crowd. Did you see out there? There's an elk right there close, and there's a whole bunch of them out there in that field. And that was the whole problem. Now this is what fascinates me, is this kind of stuff. These geysers and steam vents and stuff are all over the place. There are a few places, like where we saw the elk, which is kind of the northwestern corner, and the whole northeastern quadrant probably doesn't have too much of that, and that's where you're likely to find the wildlife. But I think, to me, you can't see this anywhere else. You don't have these nice boardwalks built so that you can get to them safely and check them out. But it just fascinates me. And it fascinates me that we can apparently safely go and see this stuff. But who knows, I guess, when it will turn one day maybe unsafe. But anyway, you can't be afraid to go see it just because somebody says it's a giant caldera volcano that could blow at some point. I don't choose to do that anyway. But these boardwalks are nice. Makes it easy, keeps you from getting on the unsafe ground, and don't get off of them, folks. People have gotten killed getting off of those. And I have the first day. This was the first afternoon I got that little geyser going off, and that was fun. But if you're downwind, you'll get some mist and stuff. But everywhere I went, on the side of the road for a big part of this park, there's these kinds of things. And this one even had you could actually, it was making noise and you could hear it. But steam vents, and it stinks. It smells like rotten eggs. Or if you've been next to some oil wells, sometimes they smell kind of like this. Probably methane gas is what it is, or sulfuric gas. It could be hydrogen sulfide gas, I guess. But there's that little dude was making some noise even. I don't know what he was making a noise for, and just to the right and to the left. Some of it looked like he was even going down into the river. I don't know if that water off of those things contaminates it or just heats it up, but I didn't notice much wildlife around these parts where they had this stuff going on, but doesn't mean there wasn't any. I just didn't see it. But you can't see this in just about anywhere else, and so I've got lots of this. Just fascinates me that this stuff goes on. And this one was called Roaring Mountain. And if you're there, I didn't come across on video or I would have left the sound going, but if you're there, you can kind of hear why they call it Roaring Mountain. But that whole side of that deal there is covered with steam vents and vents that make noise. It's just interesting. And here, this is the beginning of Mammoth Hot Springs. And I didn't leave the sound going on these either. But if I had, if you'd have heard me breathing pretty hard, because this is Mammoth Hot Springs, and it has a great boardwalk, but it has lots of stairs and lots of going up if you're going to see the whole thing. And I did, and my out of shape lungs were dying going up this stuff, but it was well worth it because it's a fantastic look at this stuff. I mean, it's uh, just fascinating to me, and it's worth the. Although if you're not, take some water with you if you're going to go over there and climb up that boardwalk and all those steps. And they have landing places where you can stop and rest, which is good because I stopped and rest some. I didn't really sit down and rest, but some people were, and that was good. But make sure you can handle that kind of a walk and take some water with you because you're going to want it. But those hot springs flow down like this, and it makes these neat little formations, and it's just neat. There's one thing that does fascinate me is you'll have this whole barren piece of land, and then in the middle of it, sometimes you'll see a tree or something growing, like a brand new little tree. But so you can see over there they have benches where you can sit down if you need to rest. But there's lots of dead trees and that stuff too. But every once in a while you'll see. Oh, and I just thought I'd do a video selfie showing you that yes, that was me. I was there. And there's some more steam vents on the side of the road. Caught them going off, Not like a geyser, but it's still going off pretty good. It's interesting. And I did get two geysers. I got the small one earlier, and then got the grand old geyser, which is coming up. And I got it going off. This is it. I didn't get Old Faithful because there was way too many people, and everybody's done Old Faithful. Not hardly anybody has done this one, so I did it.